What's going on, hockey fans? Welcome back to another video. I'm Peg City Hockey, and today, guys, I'm going to be bringing you my 2021 NHL Stanley Cup playoffs bracket, who I think is going to be coming out of every division, and why. I'll also be showing you who I think is going to come out as the Cup champion this year in the Stanley Cup playoffs. With all that being said, if you are new to this channel, just browsing around on YouTube and you came across this video, if you're a fan of hockey regardless of the team you root for, definitely consider dropping a subscription. It really does help this channel grow, and if you could support this channel in any way, it is greatly appreciated. So if you don't already, drop a like on this video, and also follow all my socials down in the description as well. And with all that being said, let's jump into the video. We're going to start off this video with my division that I followed closely this year as a Jets fan, and that is the North Division. And in the North Division, we've got the series between the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Montreal Canadiens, the Edmonton Oilers against the Winnipeg Jets. Starting off with the Leafs and the Montreal Canadiens, I think that obviously the Leafs most likely are going to come out of this. Montreal has been a team that has struggled a lot. They came out really good to start this year, and then from there they've been basically, you know, lukewarm water, as I like to call it. They haven't had a lot of good flashes. They've just been kind of mediocre and just kind of, muddling around to the playoffs. I feel like they could have stumbled into that fourth spot. Not like there was a lot of competition really there either, so they kind of knew it was secured for the last few weeks now. And with all that being said, I think Montreal's a good team. I think they're being built in the right direction. There's a lot of promise there. Guys like Kotkaniemi are going to be here and really help propel you. I see a lot of potential in his game still. He's developing it, and he's working really hard to become a better player. There's a lot of good future in Montreal, and there's a lot of bright spots to come. I just don't see it being this year. This is the deepest Leafs team I've seen in my lifetime, per se, I have to say. So with all that being said, I definitely think that the Leafs will be coming out of this series probably in 5 games if I had to really pick. And so yeah, then we're going to go with 5 games. Now going over to the Leafs and the Edmonton Oilers. Excuse me, the Leafs and the Edmonton Oilers. Blah, I can't believe I just said that. I'm talking about the Jets and the Edmonton Oilers. As a Jets fan, I don't even think I have any faith in this team really making it past Edmonton. Edmonton has owned us this year. They're 7-2 against them. They have scored so many goals against us, it's not even funny at this point. McDavid has killed us as well. He has, believed, 27 points scored against 9 games against the Winnipeg Jets. There was not a single game where he didn't get 2 points at least, so he averaged 2 points in 9 games. That's scary. Can't imagine what he's going to do in 7 games that actually matter. So I think that there's never been a team in NHL history that has really been propelled to win a cup off of the back of 2 players or a top line. In my opinion, you need to have depth. You need to be good all around to win. But the Edmonton Oilers are the one exception, I feel like, in my lifetime that I've ever seen a team built around such star power that I think they could do it. I don't think the Jets really have a chance. They've been so bad the last few games. I don't expect them to. I expect them to put up a fight. I do. I just don't think they're going to really do much. Realistically, as a Jets fan, I say I don't think they're going to be really making it past 4 or 5 games. I think that's how much it takes for Edmonton. But as a Jets fan, realistically, I'm going to give my team a little bit of faith. I'm going to say Edmonton in 6 games. Now, between the Edmonton Oilers and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, this is interesting because I'm not going to lie. I think if there's any team to beat the Leafs in the North Division, it's the Oilers. I think the Oilers have been shut down at times very well by the Leafs, so a lot of Leafs fans aren't scared of them per se. But when you look at this team, how deep they are, how good they are, I think that there is a potential that the Leafs might end up, losing to star power. I'm not saying that the Leafs are bad, but I think that there's potential. So I'm not going to pick Edmonton. I just think that this series could be closer than a lot of fans are giving, credit to the Oilers are if it gets here. So I'm going to be taking the Leafs, and I think that they will, I think they will dominate that series. But potentially, you never know if there could be a really good matchup. It's all hypothetical, right? If any team is going to match up well against the Leafs, it's going to be Edmonton. It just depends on whether or not Edmonton can combat how well the Leafs are able to shut them down like we've seen in the past. Now, jumping on over to the West is a very interesting decision because I see 2 series that could easily go in an upset. And I know you might be thinking, wow, St. Louis, really? I know Colorado is one of the best teams we've seen in a long time. They're very good, very deep, very well coached, but I just think St. Louis has some, experience. They won a cup. I think that you never know what could happen, and they just had a Cinderella story a few years ago, and when you have Ryan O'Reilly coming out and demanding a series and guaranteeing a series win, that's a lot of stuff to hype, and that's a lot of, media buildup. You never know what could happen. I'm still taking what my gut tells me, and that is Colorado, and I'm going to be taking them in 6 games. I think that the St. Louis is going to put up a bit of a fight in this one, but nonetheless, Colorado will persevere and go through to the next round. Now, this is another series that I think is interesting, and let's be honest, Jets fans, when I look at this series, it really reminds me of that Winnipeg Anaheim series way back when, only because the Minnesota Wild are an up-and-coming, young, hungry team, and the Vegas Golden Knights are the proven guys. They're trying to win. They're trying to get back to where they were in their first year going against Washington in that final, and I think they're going to really be pushing hard this year to get in and make it to that deep run. But Minnesota is so young, so dynamic, so well coached even. They're so just interesting to watch. They are such an interesting case because I knew the Wild had a lot of good prospects and I knew how good all of these young guys are, but I didn't expect them to be so good, so fast, and mesh together as well as they have. So I do think Vegas is going to persevere. I'm just thinking that this series could be close and any team could win it any game, I feel like. I think it's going to be one of the most entertaining first round matchups this year. This is going to be much watch hockey, so take that as you will. Mark it on your calendars because although I think the Vegas Golden Knights are going to win, I think this game is going to be 5 games realistically for Vegas, but I think that easily Minnesota could come out and shock the whole world because Vegas is a very big favorite, but Minnesota is so young, so dynamic, so interesting, you never know what could happen. And that brings us to our Western Conference final or Western Division final, I guess I should be saying, between Colorado and Vegas. Now, this is interesting because I really like this matchup, and I can't really pick one off the top of my head. I'm being honest, I'm picking what my gut tells me, and that is Vegas. I really like the way they're built, but in this series here, there's not really much I could say. I feel like they match up well against each other. It's going to be very entertaining nonetheless. Vegas is a hungry team, and they're trying, like I said, to get back to where they were a few years ago. Colorado is trying to show that they can get past a team like what happened with Dallas last year. They're going to want to fight. They want to get there. They want to make that final. They really do. So with all that being said, this is going to be entertaining, must-watch hockey as well. Vegas is going to be very interesting this playoffs. They've got a really interesting run to the Cup if they get there. So I think that Vegas is going to win that series against Colorado, but it could go any way. But I do like Vegas's odds, and I do like the way they're coached and built, so I'm going with Vegas for my pick. Jumping over to the Central Division. This is another one that's very interesting because I really, really, really like the Florida Panthers. They're my favorite team, I think, this year, and I really like them. I think they're amazingly built. They're well coached. They're just everything about them is good, and I feel it's so good because as you know, a guy who's always rooted for the Florida Panthers deep down, I am so happy to see them finally succeed. They have such a small but really loyal pocket of fans, and they deserve a playoff run. 25 years since the last time they advanced in the playoffs. They deserve it. I know they're going up against the Tampa Bay Lightning, but there's just something about the Lightning this year. I feel like, adding Kucherov and adding all these players, people are thinking, oh, they're getting overpowered. I think it might mess up the formula they already have. That's just my personal opinion. I know how great they are, but you never know what could happen in the NHL. And you know that Tampa is going to be a team that has choked in the past. You never know what can happen. You can never guarantee anything in hockey. You look back to Tampa, Columbus. No one ever saw that coming. Don't act like you did. Point being said, I think that this series is going to finally go in the direction of the Florida Panthers. I think the Florida Panthers finally get over the hump, make it to the next round, and I think the series goes 7 games, but I'm going in the favor of the Florida Panthers on this one. Now, jumping over to Carolina, Nashville, I'm easily going to pick Carolina, and I'm going to say Carolina, I would say, I'm going to say 5 games. I don't like to ever say a sweep. I think every team can at least fight to scrum one, but I do think Nashville is past their prime. They're old. They hadn't made it in because they had some good runs at times, but they're kind of like a lot of teams. They're fizzling out, and I don't think they're going to get past Carolina. They're well coached. Brendan Moore's got these guys like a well-oiled machine. They know what they're doing, and I just don't think that it's going to be much of a fight in the case of Nashville putting up much of one. So because of that, I think that the Carolina Hurricanes will advance to play the Florida Panthers in the finals of the Central Division, and in that series, I am picking the Florida Panthers. I think, like I said, the Florida Panthers are the best team they've seen probably in their franchise history. They are extremely well coached, and because of that, you have a team and a fan base that is hyped. They're primed for a deep run, and I feel like they deserve it. It's their time. You can only mess up and fuck it up so many times before you get it right eventually. Look at even the Jets Western Conference Final. That came out with no expectations on the team. I think Florida can do it. I really believe in them, and I hope they can do it. I'm putting my money on Florida. I think they're getting out of the Central Division and beating the Carolina Hurricanes in that series. Now jumping over to the Eastern Division. Now the Eastern Division is obviously the best division in hockey. No one's arguing that. But when you look over at these matchups, boy, they could go anyway, and it is so hard to pick. So I'm going to be going with my gut, and that is the fact that the Rangers haven't been as good and consistent as the Penguins have. The Islanders, The Islanders are a very good team. They're well assembled. I love that Palmieri trade to bring in with Zajac as well. They played well and played great, actually, let's be real. But all that being said, they have had some consistency problems recently. They just benched Barzell. On top of that, they need to be a little bit better going to the playoffs. It's not great to go in kind of, limping, as I like to say, going into the playoffs. The Islanders are kind of limping, and Pittsburgh is super good. This is a team where no one really expected much out of them, and now they're at the top of the division. They have a Cody Ceci that could potentially be a Norris candidate. I know not obviously will win, but crazy to think about even in the realm of possibilities. Point being said, I think that this is a very interesting series, but I just feel like Pittsburgh's got a leg up on experience over the Islanders, and I think Pittsburgh is going to persevere and get one last run out of this core before they really start to age and, show it. But I think that this game would be close. I'm going with 6 games. Now jumping over to the Washington-Boston side. Now this is crazy because Washington is going to play physical all throughout their lineup. And Boston, you can hit these guys 1,000 times. They'll get up nonetheless and score goals right on you. Point being said, I think Washington is very weak down the middle when it comes to their transition game. Although they think that, their transition game at times has been better. But in the last 2 years, it has been probably one of the worst transition games, like the Jets at times. A lot of dump and chase here and there. But what I like to think about with this series is that they both are going to hit. It's both going to be physical. Probably the most physical series in the playoffs. Not to mention the fact that Zdeno Chara going against his old team, his only club, basically. He's captain of his club last year, to having to play them in the first round. Talk about entertaining hockey and must-watch TV. I think this is going to be an interesting series, but I'm going with my gut, and that is the Boston Bruins in 7 games. I think this game goes the distance. I think Washington can't get past the hump because of their offense and the way they move the puck. Boston's very dynamic. Taylor Hall is back to his form, and I think this team just has enough to really push it and go for another one. Now, this is an interesting cup final East Division final, because now you have a realm where you have Pittsburgh and Boston, a team that are kind of differently built, differently matched up, but I still think would be very entertaining hockey, and I'm going to go with my gut on this one, ladies and gentlemen. I like the Pittsburgh Penguins this year. I never count out Sidney Crosby and that group of guys. Chris Letang is having a great year. There's a lot of great, good stories on that team this year. I really like their goaltending as well. I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Nothing on Boston. I like Boston's acquisitions. They're all working out for them. Mike Riley has been fantastic for them. Taylor Hall has reverted back to form. Everything they did worked, and they are in a prime position, but I just think Pittsburgh's going to have potentially a Cinderella run. I think this is the last year we really see a really dynamic, really good push, as I like to say, from Crosby and these guys. I know Crosby's so good, and he's not going to be going anywhere anytime soon, but I think this is their best last chance, maybe this year or potentially next year. But even then, no one expected this really this year. Not any expectations. Go all in if you can. Play the best hockey you can. I'm picking the Pittsburgh Penguins to make it out of that round. Now we get to the interesting part, the final. Before you get to the final, who's going to the finals out of every division? Out of the 4 divisions we got in the Vegas Golden Knights, the Toronto, and then we have Pittsburgh and Florida. So who's going and where? I think that this is going to be one of the most entertaining matchups we've seen in hockey in a very long time if Toronto plays Vegas potentially. And I am going to go with my gut, ladies and gentlemen. I am going to go with the Vegas Golden Knights. I think Vegas is better defensively. I think that the Vegas has better goaltending, and I feel like although the Leafs, to win this series, they're going to need all their goaltending to be amazing. Play on their heads. Campbell's going to need to show up. Everyone's going to need to show up. Because let's be real, Leafs fans, if you've got one question mark around your team, it's the consistency you have within the net. Back on that losing streak, you had that 5-game losing streak. When you played the Canucks after the quarantine stuff, that was bad goaltending. And you haven't had as much bad goaltending lately, but the point being is that you never know what you're going to get out of those one-hit wonder type goalies like Campbell. Who knows if he's going to stick right now, but you have to look at it from the side of the Hamburger type situation, as I like to say. No one expected the Hamburger to come in. He did what he did, and he was fantastic, but how long can that last? The magic can only go on for a certain amount of time. I think that Vegas is a better built team than the Leafs, but I think that the Leafs will put up one hell of a fight, but I pick Vegas as my number one option there. Now comes into another entertaining round I think would be great, and this is Florida and Pittsburgh. Now, I think you know where I'm going with this of how I've talked so far about the Panthers. I think the Florida Panthers are making the Stanley Cup final this year. And with that being said, I think the Florida Panthers are going to be the Stanley Cup champions in this year's playoffs. I think the Florida Panthers have, like I said, the best team they probably ever assembled in franchise history. They're the best, probably one of the best coaches ever, in my opinion, in Quenneville. I love everything to do with their offense. Their acquisitions have all worked out. Bennett is turning into an amazing aspect. Gusev is back to form. You've got all these guys that are coming in and just playing the best hockey they could because they're playing hockey that makes sense to them, and they're all believing in the machine. That is Quenneville. I love the way this team plays, and I think that Vegas is, although amazingly built, I think they come up short against Florida. I think Florida it is this year. I know that seems crazy. I love the way the Panthers are built, and I know they don't have any success in the playoffs, and I know this is based all off of hope and my opinion, but I just have a thought about the Panthers this year. I think they can do it. I think if they can get past Tampa Bay, they can win the Cup. And if that's the case, that's the hardest matchup they have to face, in my opinion, in the East, one of them. And if they can do that, anything's possible. So I'm picking the Florida Panthers. That is my official Cup champion for the 2021 Stanley Cup playoffs. Now let me know all your thoughts down in the comment section below. I want to know all your brackets. Who's your winner? Who is your guys coming out of the division? What teams are the best in the divisions? All your thoughts down in the comment section below, as always. Like I said at the start of this video, if you're a fan of hockey, regardless of the team you root for, definitely consider dropping a subscription, as it really does help this channel grow, and any support you can give is greatly appreciated. Drop a like if you haven't already. Also, make sure to follow all my socials down in the description below. Also, quick plug to my podcast, the Prairie Puck Podcast, where we talk all things Winnipeg Jets hockey and other things that just catch our thoughts in the world of of sports and hockey. If you're a fan of just guys talking hockey, along with my co-host Hawk Garbage Sports and Zachary Nolan from the Nolan Hockey Podcast, definitely go and drop a viewership on that. That video came out today as well, so they'll put a link down to it in the description as well. You can also watch it on Spotify on the go. With all that being said, peace, love, and positivity as always. I hope you had a great rest of your day whenever you're watching this video. Hope you're enjoying yourselves. Hockey's going to be great this year. Playoffs are back. It's time to get hyped. Go Jets, go. Go whatever team you root for. And I will see you guys in the next video. It's going to be an interesting playoffs, and I can't wait to see what happens. All that being said, bye-bye. Have a wonderful day. This is Peg City Hockey signing off.